Well, welcome to Quest Leadership Live. I'm your host, Tom Toney, and I'm so glad that we get to spend a little bit of time together today talking about one of my favorite topics, and I believe a very important topic, and that is how do we teach, lead, mentor, coach young students to become great leaders. That's the whole point of this broadcast, of this show. And so I'm thankful that you've jumped on here with me today, whether you're watching live or watching in a rebroadcast. Thanks for being a part of this. I'd ask you right now just to take a quick second and hit share. Share this broadcast out. Help me get the word out as we pour into those of us who are teaching and coaching and leading and mentoring young students and helping to draw out of them the greatness that's inside of them. And so I wanted to encourage you to just do that real quickly. Share this out with your friends, get them connected, help to support the movement. And we're excited that you're here today. Today, we're going to talk about something that we're all familiar with, indicators. All of us know what indicators are, things that help us to track our progress, whether it's a GPS, if you're on a trip, tracking your progress, or if it is a scale, if you're trying to lose weight, you're tracking your progress. If it's a watch on your wrist, you're looking at the time, the calendar. If you're using your smartphone to track your progress throughout your day, tasks, and so on. All of us are aware of the power and the importance of tools that allow us to track progress over time. How are we doing? Are we moving forward? Have we become stale? Are we just stuck where we are? Are we going backward? Where are we? How are things going? And it's no different where it concerns developing strong young leaders. We need key indicators, ways that we can tell we are actually making progress. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about 3 things to watch as you are growing young leaders, as you are helping those leaders, those young students, to develop their character, their self-expectation, and their influence to become great leaders. That's what we're going to talk about here today on Quest Leadership Live. If you're like me, you've learned to depend heavily on GPS for navigating in places that you may not be that familiar with. And I know a lot of times as I'm listening to the GPS on my phone, using the Maps app to get around, and I'll hear a direction. I'll hear something like turn left at the next intersection. And invariably, maybe you've done this, I hope you have, because it happens to me all the time. Invariably, I think, did she say left or right? And I heard right, but I looked down at the map and it's actually left. And how often it happens that what I'm hearing is just, I got to make sure, because I thought I heard something I didn't hear, but I rely heavily on that voice in my life to help me get around in territory that's unfamiliar. I recognize that as we grow as teachers and mentors, and what we refer to here in the Quest system as coaches, as we grow as coaches, sometimes it can be difficult to know how to navigate the unfamiliar territory of growing young leaders, especially if we are sincere and serious about being our best in growing these young leaders, doing what's best for them, engaging them, all the things that we talk about here consistently on Quest Leadership Live. And so today I want to give you just 3 areas, just 3. These aren't the only 3. They might not even be the main 3, but they're a big 3 things to watch for as you're growing young leaders. And so I want to share with you, what are the things that we need to be aware of, that we should be seeing in their development that would indicate to us we're on track, that we're progressing, that they are progressing, and that we are doing an adequate job of pulling out the greatness inside of them and helping them to develop their character. I want to give you 3 aspects of this, 3 things that you can watch for in these young students. So as we talk about this, I encourage you, as always, to take notes. Feel free to take a screenshot if you want to of the different slides that come up here as we talk about these 3 different points. But I want to give you also some practical insights on what you should expect and how you can go about developing these things in your students. Now, let me just lay out here at the outset that Quest does not believe that only certain students should be leaders. Quest does not come from the philosophy that some students have it, some students don't. What we believe and what we have seen over time is that every student has the ability to be a leader, to be influential, to be a strong young man or young woman of character, to have grit, determination, to have executive functioning, to know that their actions make a difference in their future. Every one of them can be developed in these skills. It's not just relegated to a certain few that seem to already demonstrate some of these character traits we're going to talk about today. So we're not looking, when I go through these three things, we're not looking for these already in students then that we would pull out to focus on. We're looking at the potential of pulling this out of every student. So especially those, and the reason I go into that is because through the Quest system, every student has the chance to be a leader. If you're in the local school and you're a part of the Quest system in the local school, it's expected that every student inside every classroom would have a chance to lead at some point throughout the year, to be a Quest leader. And so in that's the case, these are not indicators we're looking for already in students. These are indicators we're looking for as we develop every student. If it's a part of a church system, this is the same thing. They're the kids that have applied and gone through the process of application to become a part of the team. Not that we have not vetted them on ability, we vetted them only on desire, the fact they want to be a part of it. So once they've indicated, I want to be a part of this, now these are the things that we're looking to draw out of them. So there are three things that you can kind of keep your eye on here that are key indicators of how they are growing, and also are going to help to give you some advice on what to focus on in their development. So let's get to them here. Number one of the things that we want to see our kids grow in is courage. And courage is simply a desire to try. One of the things that we teach our own children is where it concerns food. It's because, kids can be picky about food. As we teach them, our own kids, to be triers. That's how we say it. Come on, just be a trier. Try it out. Once you've tried it, if you don't like it, then okay, you don't like it. But to say I don't like it before you've ever tried it, well, then how do you know? And we've seen, obviously, in those situations where they'll try a new item and they like it. And they're surprised as well because they didn't think they would like it. I don't like it. How do you know? Have you ever tried it? No, I haven't. Well, try it and then let us know if you like it. We want to help cultivate in the lives of our students that they're not afraid to step out and try a new skill, step out into a new territory of influence. Maybe you have students who are not that outspoken. They seem a little shy and retiring, and they don't really want to be up in front of a crowd, and just totally get that, completely understand that. Well, courage is simply the desire to try. Courage simply says, I'm not comfortable in this moment. I don't want to read in front of my peers, but I'm willing to try it. That's what we want to see, that over time is growing. Not that we force it all in the beginning. You got to get out there and do it. You're a leader. You've got to do this. Come on, just suck it up, buttercup. You got to go. It's not so much that mentality as it is watching over time that our little encouragements and opportunities that we have given, and we're sensitive to where they are in their growth pattern, but we want to see over time courage increasing. In fact, that's the indicator here I want to share with you, is that over time, young leaders should grow in their willingness to step into unfamiliar roles. So over time, it's kind of an important part of that phrase, over time. So little by little, we should see them growing in their willingness to step into unfamiliar roles, whether that's helping you inside the classroom, or if it's leading their peers, if it's trying a new skill in a part of a production, whatever it might be. We want to see their courage increase. And courage comes from trying things that we're not that confident in and growing in our confidence through that trial and error, through trying it and failing, trying and failing, trying and growing and failing at a different level and growing a little bit more. That's where courage begins to come from. And as they experience that, they're going to become more and more courageous. So watch for courage. All right, courage. The second thing that we can watch for is humility. Humility then is a desire to grow. Humility understands that I don't know everything. Humility is not self-deprecation. Humility is not talking down about yourself. It is not putting yourself down. It's just simply recognizing the limit to your own ability. That's humility. Humility recognizes I don't know it all. I know some things, but I don't know everything. I can't do everything. I can do some things, but I can't do everything. Though I have the courage to try, I can't do everything. Humility simply understands the limitation of our ability or our knowledge and is not afraid to admit to that limitation. Humility also does not hide behind limitation. So humility is not, I don't know anything, I can't do anything, and I don't want to try anything. Humility simply understands this is the limit. But it's a desire, but I want to know more. I want to grow more, which is connected to the courage, to the desire to try, right? So you want to see these two things in combination. I'm willing to jump out there and give it a shot, but I also understand I might not be ready. We want to see our students grow in their capacity to understand their limitations. Man, that is huge. We want to see them grow in their capacity to understand their limitations. Humility. All right, so how do we see this? Well, we see it this way, that you should expect to see a shift in how they more eagerly receive constructive criticism. That's going to be an indicator of a growth in humility. How more eagerly they receive constructive criticism. In the beginning, you're going to get a lot of pushback on constructive criticism. Bottom line, when you can begin to criticize an effort in a healthy way, not demeaningly, but constructively criticize. You could have done this better. What about this? Feel like you could have come from this at a different angle. You could have said this more confidently. That kind of a constructive criticism that you're giving as a coach, that there'll be an increasing eagerness. At first, you're not going to have eagerness. It's going to be excuses, defensiveness, all those things that we're used to. But that's all right. It's natural. Help them grow out of it. Help them grow out of those things by helping them to have more courage, but the humility to want to learn more. Eventually, your students should look to you for instruction for personal growth. Over time, as you're influencing them and building that relationship, and they recognize that you're not going to just run them down for failing, but that you're going to support them and that you're going to give them insight and wisdom, eventually that will grow into a desire for show me more, tell me more. So that's that foundation of humility, is that idea. And honestly, let's be honest. I mean, we need that as adults. We need to cultivate that even more in our lives, most likely. Just a simple, genuine humility of I know my limitations, but I don't allow my limitations to limit me. I stand on the foundation of my past limitations to reach higher to the next level of limitations. So, but it's all based in humility. And then the third thing to watch for, so we're watching for courage, we're watching for humility. The final thought here on humility for now is that humility is also going to help them with this next piece. Humility is going to help them recognize not only their own limitations, but to begin to understand that everyone has limitations. And that leads to the third thing, which is compassion. Compassion, a desire to understand. Obviously, among young students, there's a natural tendency to compete. There's a natural tendency to be better, to one up. Anytime that a friend, a peer accomplishes something, immediately the thought is, I can do better. It's not always malicious. It's just the heart of that idea of competition and doing a little bit better. And so we want to help them cultivate compassion. What is compassion? Well, compassion is their ability to encourage and even instruct their peers patiently, demonstrating genuine understanding. So their ability to encourage and even instruct their peers patiently demonstrates genuine understanding. And I recognize the word "there" is misspelled in the beginning of that. There's a demonstration of humility. I misspelled "there," should have been THEIR there. But their ability to encourage and even instruct their peers. So eventually over time, as our students take courageous steps into new territory and they're learning, they have a desire to grow through humility and learn from our mentorship and our coaching, their compassion then grows through that humility by recognizing if I have limitations, others probably have limitations, but maybe I have something I can bring to the table to help them grow past their limitations, and they can actually become instructors. They can help to teach and coach their peers as they grow in this maturity. And when they do that patiently, when they interact with their peers patiently, and patience is the kind of a key part of compassion and even the humility that you want to kind of keep your eye on, patience with their peers that demonstrates genuine understanding. So if I genuinely understand someone's position in life, if I genuinely understand their struggle, it's going to result in greater patience and compassion for them. When I recognize struggle in my own life, when I recognize that I don't always spell all the words correctly, then it creates a little bit more margin for how I perceive others when they may misspell a word, when they may misspeak, when they may not do something exactly correct. That humility that I've learned through my own growth experiences is helping me to have greater compassion. So compassion should definitely be an end result of the coaching that we're doing with our students, that they should see themselves and others and have compassion on them for their own journey. Then in that setting, in that scenario, as they grow, they can actually become instructive and encouraging to their peers and do that patiently. Again, 3 things that you want to watch for as you are developing your students. Courage, a desire to try. So as a coach, create scenarios, give them the opportunity, build the expectation. Everybody's going to give this a shot. And then allow them to grow into that, the courageousness of stepping into that unfamiliar territory. Be their GPS. Say it again and again. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn left. We're going to turn right. We're going to go this direction. Everybody's going to give this a shot. It may not be today, but it will be tomorrow. Eventually, you're going to try this, and allow them to grow into that courage, that desire to try. All the while keeping an eye on their humility. Are they being a little arrogant about their abilities? Maybe over exaggerating their abilities, thinking they're more capable of something than they actually are. So helping them to grow in their humility through that process by recognizing, hey, one day you weren't able to do this either, but now you are. And if you could do it with that, can you do it with something else? And building that humility for personal growth, that desire to grow, will help to develop their compassion for others, a desire to understand their peers, and even become encouraging and instructive toward them and in a patient manner. 3 things to watch. Give them that opportunity as you see them stepping out into new territory and growing in their humility. Give them the chance to lead among their peers, because I'm telling you, talk about a way to grow in courage and humility. It's leading among your peers. That's true of us as adults today. How many adults I run into that just when you talk about speaking in front of other people, they can't handle it. But the courage that comes with trying those things and the humility that it brings generates compassion and ability to really connect. 3 things that I'm telling you to watch out for as you're developing your young leaders, helping them to grow in their character, their self-expectation, and their influence. If you can watch these 3 pieces, mind them, do everything that you can to empower them and help your students grow in them, you will be making progress. These are things you can watch, indicators to know, man, are we getting somewhere or not? These are things. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. What have been your experiences? What are things that you have seen? What have you heard from students that indicate they're growing in these areas? How would these 3 indicators help you on a day-to-day basis? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know. And above all, until next time, keep building strong young leaders.